This is Histories and Mysteries. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jessica. And on this week's episode, Ashley is going to be talking about the murder of Jessica Dishon.
Dishon. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I heard it both ways, so
I heard it both ways. uh, and I am going to be, oh God, I forgot.
The creepy story.
Yeah, the creepy story. I'm going to be talking about the mystery of the missing light keepers of the Flannan Isles.
Ooh. I'm
It's
excited.
a fun
Because
one.
technically, this is the first time we've recorded. Well, not technically. This is the first time we've recorded in September. And technically, I start my spooky season in September. So
Ooh,
I'm excited.
my birthday's in September.
Yay!
I'm turning old this year.
Oh, what? Whole 28?
Yeah.
Whoa, buddy. So old. I'm turning 35, Jessica.
Say 35, right?
Yes, so old.
Oh, that's okay.
Ugh. Yeah, so spooky season has officially started. I'm very excited.
It's very exciting.
I'm going to we're moving from hot ass Arizona to West Virginia where there's actually like a fall. So I'm moving into fall at spooky season. I just am so excited.
It's so exciting. I just put
yeah.
on my boots to go to the drugstore because it was raining and it felt so good putting on boots.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't put on boots here yet. It was like 105 today, so
What is that in Celsius? That just sounds gross.
oh yeah, I forgot. We do stupid way. You guys don't do it that way. Let's see. 40.5 degrees.
We get that. We have been getting that type of heat this year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Yeah. It's been gross. We just stay inside. We don't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's been bad.
Yeah, like I was walking a lot with the baby, but then it was Satan's butthole outside for a solid month, so I couldn't.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I can't wait to be in West Virginia where I can actually like take him on a walk and we don't both just like sweat to death.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I have like a little fan for her stroller.
Yeah, I have that too for him.
I feel like it was just too hot. Like even bringing my dog out, I felt bad. So
yeah, yep, I totally get that. All right, well, I'm gonna jump into it, and this was actually on the show called Cold Case Files.
Okay.
This is a roller coaster. I really loved this case. I mean, not loved it. It's awful, but it's a good case.
Wait, you didn't do any of the stories I recommended to you.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot.
I'm set for the next 3 weeks. Thanks.
Well, now I'm set for the next 3 weeks. Oh gosh, I have the memory of a goldfish right now.
That's okay.
I am also weaning off. Well, not weaning off. I'm completely off now. My anxiety meds. So my brain is just like a slush bag right now.
Ironic that I just went and picked my anxiety medication up for the first time.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, like I said, I got mine from Cold Case. It's really a roller coaster ride of a story. So, Shepherdsville, Kentucky. It's a population of about 12,000 people, but they're all like really spread out. So it's kind of small town. Everybody knows everybody's business. Everybody is in everybody's business type of feel to it. A lot of farmland.
12,000 people is small.
Well, I mean, it's not small, but it's like they have their like little communities, within that area that are like really know each other. And back when this in 1999, it may have been smaller. I did the census for recently.
for those of you that don't know, I accidentally just ruined the story for myself.
And I'm literally not even done with the first line of my story.
All because I wanted to know the fucking population. Oh my god. Okay.
Well, I might as well just skip to the end. The end. No, I'm just kidding. So Shepherdsville, Kentucky is also, fun fact, the trailhead of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. And it's seated just about 20 minutes south of Louisville. And so, like I said, it's a very cute little town, just like in a normal American city. But on September 10th, 1999, this town would be rocked to its core.
Ooh.
The Dishon family wakes up just like any other morning, but they let their 16-year-old daughter sleep in, pretty typical of teens. So her mom gets ready and heads out the door to go grocery shopping. Jessica's dad wakes up their younger brothers, gets them ready to catch the bus. He then heads to work. And then Jessica normally woke herself up, and then she had a car, so then she would just head into school around 6:30. She would leave. But for some reason, that didn't happen this morning. So when Edna, her mom, returned home, she notices that Jessica's car is still in the driveway, and she's like, well, that's weird. She must not have woken up. She must still be sleeping. So she goes into Jessica's room, but her bed is empty. She starts calling around the house because her car was still there. So she had to be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
When she couldn't find her, she called her husband and said, hey, did you take her to school for some reason today? And he was like, no. And she's like, okay, well, maybe Jessica's car's broken and she got a ride from a friend. And her husband's like, well, go see if it starts, see if it's broken. And as soon as Edna opened the door, she knew that something was wrong.
Uh-oh.
Her phone and her purse were in the car, and one shoe was on the floorboard.
Oh, no.
And this gives me chills when I heard it and when I'm saying it, because I can't tell you how many times I've been scared and I've done this, but thankfully nothing's ever happened. But Edna found her cell phone and she had typed in 911.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's no.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I don't know why, but I hated that so much too.
Well, because she was so close.
Yeah.
So close. Ugh.
So Edna said when she saw this, she's like, I couldn't breathe. I knew something was wrong.
Well, yeah.
But holding on to her last bit of hope, she called the school to see if, by some miracle, maybe she was in school. But she wasn't, and the school informed her that she hadn't been there that day at all.
Oh, no.
So around 5 p.m., they went to the sheriff's office to get some help. And typical 90 cop work, they were awful.
Yeah.
And they said that she was a runaway, probably. And Mike, her dad, was like, no, she's not a one shoe on, one shoe off runaway.
Yeah, honestly, stupid fucking cops.
Yeah. So the police told them to go home and come back the next morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I say stupid fucking cops, I mean them, not cops in general.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Just
yes,
I don't get in trouble.
Stupid fucking cops. Yes, these ones are. And Edna just said, someone's got to help. Our daughter is missing and no one wants to help. And it was just so sad to me.
Well, yeah.
So 24 hours after she went missing, the Dishons went back to the police station. And the police station sent 2 police officers out to the house. They searched Jessica's car. No gloves.
Of course not.
Nothing. Just searched through her car.
Stupid.
They got back into their police cruiser and then just left.
Of course.
So September 12th, 2 days later, Mike gets on the news to blast the police department and ask for any help in finding his daughter.
Good.
The family started to search the surrounding areas themselves. Mike had a brother, Stanley, who helped search. Some people in the community helped search. And they were looking in this place known as River Bottoms. It's apparently a place where, if anything bad happened, that's where it was going to happen.
Mm.
And they started to look around, and his brother Stanley just got really physically ill and started throwing up. And so he had to go home, but they kept searching, and unfortunately they didn't find anything. This part, Jessica, this part gives me such chills too. Okay. So after looking for Jessica, Mike returned home And he's like in doing the dishes. Edna's in like making up for the bed, just, trying to go through their normal daily routine.
Yeah.
They send their dog outside to feed the dogs. Their dog.
No.
They sent their son outside to feed the dogs.
It's one talented dog.
It's a talented dog. He's a good doggo.
Well trained.
And his son ran back inside and said, "Dad, I think I heard Jessica hollering, 'Help me.'"
Oh no.
Her little brother. Like,
Ugh.
So Mike runs to get his gun and takes off out the door. As he gets out of the house, his brother Stanley's pulling up in the driveway. He sees Mike with a gun and in a hurry and says, like, "Hey, what's going on?" So Mike says, what happened, and the two took off together. As they were in the woods searching, they found someone by the name of Bucky Brooks.
I thought you were just about to say Bucky Barnes.
No, Bucky Brooks.
Okay.
He was up on the hill burning clothes. And apparently the Brooks and the Dishons did not get along. There's like decades-long family feuds between these two.
Weird.
So Mike, says like, what the hell's going on? And oh, sorry, I missed this line. So apparently Bucky would call up the Dishons and then just like breathe heavily on the phone.
Ew, what a fucking creeper.
Yeah.
Yuck. I hate that. I hate it so much.
Yes. So once Bucky saw Mike and his brother, he said, "Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me." So Mike said, "Well, hey, can we search your farm if you have nothing to hide?" And he said, "No."
Why?
It's a great question. So Mike called the police to tell them everything. The cops came to the house and asked for some of Jessica's clothing, and they had their doggos sniff it.
Good doggos.
Good doggos. And they searched everywhere on Bucky's property. The sheriff did say when they were searching the barns, Bucky was acting like really strange. And their cadaver dogs picked up a scent in Bucky's fire pit.
Ooh.
When they searched through it, all that's left was a pair of gloves. And that glove had like the decomposing smell on it that the dogs were targeting. But the sheriffs didn't arrest anyone.
What the
And I get it. Like, they probably couldn't arrest him just on that. But like, after everything else that they haven't been doing, Mike was like, "Fuck this." And he called the FBI.
Oh, good. What if they stumbled upon another murder unrelated to...
That'd be interesting. They don't.
That would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But good on him for calling the FBI.
Yeah. The FBI said, we can only come on a case if the sheriff's department invites us or if one of the parents of the deceased invites them. So boom, Mike was like, "Yeah, come on in."
Mm-hmm.
So the FBI actually went into Jessica's room, took some stuff, checked for fingerprints in her car. They also took the car for further testing. They called in helicopters. They went over different areas to search. They brought in men to search the local ponds. They also searched the Brooks farm. So already, like, they're doing way more.
Yeah, because they actually like give a shit.
Mm-hmm. And they found a picture of Jessica in the Brooks barn.
Ew.
Yeah.
What?
So on January 27th, 17 days after Jessica went missing, a girl named Karen Hobbs was coming home from Washington and was traveling through River Bottom.
What? You just said January 7th. And
January 27th.
Yeah, but she went missing in September. You said 17 days later.
I don't know. Don't know what happened.
So confused.
Must be September 27th, right?
Yeah, because she went missing September 10th.
So that would be 17 days.
Yeah.
Okay. September 27th, 17 days after Jessica went missing. A girl named Karen Hobbs was coming home from Washington and she was traveling through River Bottom. Out of the corner of the eye, she saw something sitting up against a tree. It was a body.
Ew.
So Karen immediately called the police and the FBI forensics team came out. but the body was so decomposed that it wasn't identifiable. But like they were talking about how this was such a small town, so like how many people have really gone missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Part of her limb was gone and some of her fingers were as well. And they just said limb. They didn't say like what limb. Police said that or Mike said that police officers came down his road with his lights on and told him that they found Jessica, which I think like if you find like a missing person and you found their body, like say that. Don't give these people like a flickering bit of hope. You know what I mean? Like we found Jessica. He should have said like we found Jessica's body, you know,
honestly,
because he just said we found Jessica and Mike said, well, is she alive? And they said no, she's dead. And Edna yelled, no, I want you to tell me that she's a damn runaway. We tried to tell you she didn't run away. Then I don't understand this at all. They fucking brought Edna to the body in the field to identify her. Like instead of like when it was back in the medical examiner's office or whatever, they brought her to the field where her decomposing daughter's body was.
Oh my gosh.
So once they got her back, they did find out that the cause of death was strangulation.
Ugh.
She had a broken jaw, and they suspected that she had been alive for about 3 days after she had been taken before she was murdered. What?
I'm angry laughing.
Oh, okay. I was like, why are you laughing?
No, I'm angry laughing because the parents were on top of that freaking shit.
Right?
Did they sue the cops?
They didn't say.
Ugh, I fucking would have.
And actually, funny thing here, this next paragraph I have is, interestingly, this documentary also interviewed the sheriff at the time, like who was the sheriff at the time. Like they interviewed him now when he was the sheriff at the time. And he said that they only had 2 detectives at that time and they were working day and night. And he actually became really emotional because he knew Jessica. He said he had like watched her grow up. So it's just kind of interesting to see that other side of, you know, what he was.
It's for the fucking cameras.
Yeah, that could be too. So the FBI called back Bucky Brooks. They interviewed him. Bucky said that he had seen Jessica walking down the road the morning she went missing, but then he changed his story and said that there's no way he could have seen Jessica because he was having sex with his wife.
What?
And his wife said, we did not have sex that morning. But Bucky lied a lot. So the FBI did a polygraph test and failed. He failed it. And interesting, I thought this was really cool. Like for people who aren't maybe that into true crime, like, you know, we know that polygraph tests aren't admissible in court. But they brought on the prosecutor and he said, you know, although these aren't admissible in court, they are a tool that prosecutors use to make decisions about a particular case. So I thought that was kind of interesting, a little tidbit they threw in there.
Yeah.
But they took this information and they had a grand jury indictment brought up against Bucky Brooks.
What?
He was charged with murder and was facing the death penalty. And they said, this didn't make sense to me. So they said that they asked Bucky, like, well, what would you do if we found your fingerprints in her car? And he said, well, I guess I'd have to admit to it then. And they took that as like oh, he did it. But like, that's not how I took it. It was just like well, if that's true, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This whole case is making me kind of angry.
Yeah, it's a weird case. The defense tried to show that like the investigation was handled very badly. One of the things they showed was that the body parts that they had recovered were left out and not frozen like they should have been kept. But like, I don't really understand what that has to do with anything. I guess just to show that it was a bad case.
What?
But the defense also brought up this guy named James Coulter, who was like the town baddie bad. He was like running drugs and all that good stuff.
Okay.
And the defense brought him up as like a possible other suspect. He claimed that he saw Jessica at 4 p.m. the day she went missing. He said he knew her because he was her drug dealer.
Okay.
And their other defense was to like hound the detective. So like because as you've heard, there wasn't a ton of evidence on Bucky. Like they didn't really have a lot.
I mean, they had a decomposed hand in his
What?
fire. Well, there was a hand in his fire pit with a glove.
No, there were gloves, no hand, gloves.
Oh. Well, I don't fucking know.
Right. So like they had the gloves that like the dog spotted as or like pointed to as decomposing. That's really it. And then he failed the polygraph test and he lied a lot.
And he had her picture.
He did have her picture, yeah.
Creepy ass.
Yeah, super creepy, right? But like, is that enough to convict someone of murder?
No.
So that's kind of what the defense was going on. And so they were like hounding the detective on the stand, like, well, why did you suspect it was Bucky? Why did you put him up on this trial? Like, why did you do this? Why did you do that? And finally, he said, Jessica, he said, I don't know. He failed a polygraph, I think they issued to him. You cannot say that in court because the polygraph test is not admissible.
Yeah.
So you cannot even bring up that they took a polygraph test, let alone that he failed it.
Yeah.
And he should have known that. He was a detective. So the whole case was declared a mistrial and the jury was dismissed.
I was gonna say that would have been a mistrial for sure.
Yep. So they can try Bucky again, but only if they find more evidence. But nothing really came of it. And in fact, they turned all the evidence back over to Jessica's family and was like, here you go, all done.
What?
And then the case went cold.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Sadly, this tore their marriage apart, and Jessica's parents ended up getting a divorce.
What?
Yeah. And the dad in the interview said to this day, they still haven't spoken.
What?
Since their divorce. Yeah.
Why?
They didn't really get into it too much, but yeah, they just couldn't get through it.
Weird.
So in June of 2012, 13 years after Jessica went missing, the sheriff's department hired a lady named Lynn Hunt. And she was hired to look at old murders or like cold cases. And so this was like her top priority one. So she started looking into it, looking through the box of evidence that the prosecution had, and she said there was like hardly anything, just some loose paper and some napkins. There was no numbers, no names, nothing. But when she went to talk to Mike, he had saved all of the evidence that the police gave back to him. So her shoe, her cell phone, her purse, he had it all saved.
Holy shit.
And was able to hand it over to her.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And she had heard that there were PIs were hired for the defense's case. So she wanted all that information too. And she said that their investigation was much better than the prosecution's investigation. She going through all the info, she found some new information on Bucky Brooks. She found Bucky's mental evaluation and found out that he only had an IQ of 61.
Oh.
So with that low of an IQ, he should have never been given a polygraph exam. She said there's no way he could understand the questions being asked of him, let alone answer them correctly. And she said that she was now sure that Bucky didn't do it. But I'm not really sure how having a low IQ means he didn't do it, because he still could have, but
he could have accidentally have done it.
Yeah, who knows, right? So, but she said that's how she knew he didn't do it.
Okay.
So she did see that in the defense files, they believe there were other suspects, including James Coulter. But at this point in time, Coulter was in jail. I don't think anybody was surprised that that was coming. So she went down to the jail to speak with him. And he said he was in a hotel with a girl the morning Jessica went missing and didn't check out till sometime the next day. She said, did anyone see you that morning? And he said, the maintenance guy. So she went to the hotel, but of course they don't have records that far back. But she did find that maintenance guy, and he was the same maintenance guy that worked back in 1999.
Holy shit.
Still worked there. And he said that he did remember them. And he did remember that Coulter and the girl checked out around noon. How you remember that, I don't know, but he did.
All right.
So that was another kind of dead end. But then Lynn gets a call from a police officer saying that a jail informant knows who killed Jessica. So on September 30th, 2013, she headed to that jail. The informant said that his cellmate said that he had committed the murder. He said that he had Jessica for a couple of days and then he took her life. And the reason he did any mutilation to her was that he was trying to make it look like some drug dealers or like cartel did it to her. And he said that his cellmate was super pissed off because she was having, so these two, the cellmate and the informant, were in jail for like sexual relations with minors. And yeah. And the cellmate was saying that he was pissed off because Jessica was having a relationship with a boy her own age.
Oh my God. Whoa.
I know.
Bleu.
I know, right?
The travesty.
Crazy. And the informant said that his cellmate kept calling the boy she was seeing a little bastard and calling Jessica a little bitch.
Oh, it's James Dean's car.
What?
James Dean's car is called a little bastard, I believe.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Pretty sure.
And there's no way that this informant would have known this information that he was saying, like about the mutilation and that kind of stuff, unless he was actually talking to the murderer. And that's when she got a name. Stanley Dishon, her uncle. The one who drove up the night her brother heard Jessica yelling for help. The one who got sick during the search. He got sick because they were a mile from her body and he knew it.
No kidding.
Yep. He said that Stanley had tortured her in the barn close to where the body was found and that some of her personal belongings were under a fallen tree in that area. So Hunt headed there and started to look. Of course, it, starts raining while they were digging because why not?
Yeah.
And Jessica's brother, Bubby, I don't know if that's his real name or if that was like a nickname, but his name's Bubby. He was there to help Lynn dig. You know what I did? Her last name's Hunt, and I said Helen instead of Lynn. Helen Hunt.
Oh.
So Lynn said that she probably dug at least 175 holes. And finally, they were kind of like, it's pouring down rain. We've been digging, for hours. Let's get back in the car and we'll figure out what we're going to do from here. As they're driving down the road, Bubby goes, hey, that's where they used to all party at. And there was a building and a barn. And so she stopped in the middle of the road and walked into the first building. She saw a piece of material sticking out from the floor. She pulls out a sheet and it looks just like Jessica's comforter that was on her bed in her house. So they go back to Jessica's house where the room was kept pretty much the same. They didn't really do too much with it.
Okay, I can see now why their marriage probably ended.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the father had a very, like, not an obsession with it, but it was just kind of like, he kept everything. Like, that's not healthy.
Well, I mean, it was evidence to a case that was never solved. So I can see why he kept that.
No, but I know, but the room, right?
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if that was her mom still lived there or if the dad still lived there. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, either way.
Yeah. Either way, someone probably wasn't able to
let go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sad.
So they look and sure enough, the sheet was missing from her bed. And it was the exact same material as like the top sheet and the comforter. So come to find out, Stanley had been raping and sodomizing Jessica for years. That morning that Jessica went missing, he headed over to her house and he started arguing with her about her new boyfriend. And Jessica said that if he didn't leave her alone, she was going to tell her boyfriend what he had been doing to her. And Stanley lost it. He knocked her out, breaking her jaw. He wrapped her up in the sheet and took her to that barn where he tortured her for 3 days and then strangled her.
This is a horrible story.
Yes. Stanley was also molesting 3 other family members.
Oh my God. Of course he was.
Yeah. And Mike had no idea. Like, he didn't know. And this is his brother. He's like, I can't even imagine. But they decided to give Stanley a plea deal because they didn't want those other family members to have to go on trial and like describe everything that had happened to them. So Stanley Dishon pled guilty to 4 counts of rape in addition to manslaughter for the death of Jessica. His plea agreement said that he got 20 years without eligibility of parole for at least 16. Yet this.
I don't want to.
I know. As Lynn was going through like the rest of the evidence, she found a letter that was sent to the sheriff's department back in 2002 saying that their cellmate was Stanley Dishon and he confessed to Jessica's murder and dumped her body in the river bottoms.
No.
But they never did anything about that letter.
Of course they fucking didn't because they're...
Yeah. The end of the documentary was Mike, her dad, talking, and he said, Stanley will be 77 years old when he gets out, and I'll be waiting for him.
Oh.
I give me chills. And that is the story of the murder of Jessica Dishon.
I absolutely hated it.
I know, it's awful. It's really awful.
Knowing the ending, I was still shocked.
I was hoping you were going to forget about it as we were going through.
I didn't forget about the ending. I didn't forget about it. But every like little piece that you kept saying, I'm like, how does that even add up to him? And then, yeah. So
yeah. And apparently like recent, not like super recent, but I think kind of like more recently than this case, Stanley came out and said, I've been silent for all this time, but I didn't actually murder her. Like, I did molest my family. And so I knew I was going to get, tried for murder for that because I molested my family, but I didn't actually do it, which obviously is a bunch of bullshit. So now that I'm done with my story, we can tell you that Jessica, when she was looking up the census, found an article that said uncle pleads guilty in 1999 slaying of niece. So that's how she ruined it.
It wasn't my fault.
Uh-huh.
It was Google's fault.
Oh.
Okay, well,
all right, I'm ready for some spooky.
Yay, me too.
I'm excited.
I am excited as well. So I used Mental Floss, History UK.
I thought you were gonna say Histories and Mysteries. I'm like, that's not Chef.
I foretold it in my brain.
So you know how real quick, another sidetrack. You know how and that's why we drink, the listeners are called like boozers and shakers.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, what would ours be? And ours would be like historians and explorians.
I love it. Hey, write that down.
Historians and explorians.
Yeah, because then when you do your candles, you can have a scent called Historians and Explorians.
Oh, cute.
Or you could have like 2 different scents. One could be Historians, one could be Explorians.
Would historians smell dusty?
Yeah. You know what? It would smell like books. Old books.
Oh. That
is my favorite smell in the world.
Yeah?
Oh.
My favorite smell is cinnamon or lilac. So I'm not like really cool with my smells. I just really like those smells.
I'm just like, sorry, I'm like getting lost in the thought of that smell. I buy old books just so I can smell them.
Oh, that's cute.
It's weird.
No, it's cute.
But yeah, that would be really cute if you could do that.
Yeah, that would be cute. And you could buy them as like, if you bought them as a set, you get like a deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be really fun.
Yeah, it would be. I like that.
I've always wanted to make my own candles too. So it'd be cool if we
I
could like
know.
figure it out together and then like sell them for the podcast or whatever. And
Yeah, my friend, a coworker of mine, she said that she wanted a hobby and she was looking at candle making and she was like telling me all about it. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun.
I know it would be really fun. I tried sending you a TikTok, a couple of TikToks actually, and for some reason they didn't get to you.
Oh.
One was from like that Bailey girl. She does the makeup
Oh, yeah.
and like talks about the true crime stuff.
Hmm.
I tried sending you one and I only watched like the first 5 seconds. And I'm like, ooh, this sounds very interesting, but I don't want to go any further because I want Ashley to do a story on it. For some reason, it didn't send to you. And then another one was somebody that makes candles on TikTok. They I sent the video to you and talking about how like we could do it for the podcast and
Oh,
yeah.
that would be cute.
Yeah. And I was gonna say I wish that we could do like bath bombs as well. That would be fun.
Oh, bath bombs would be fun. I had a friend that made some bath bombs and they were really nice.
And we could do one as a ham.
Or like a cute little piggy.
Remember when I wanted you to get your first tattoo as a ham?
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Oh my god, it's so fucking funny.
Hey mom, look at my first tattoo. It's a ham.
I mean, in my defense, I have like my whole body tattooed. So.
I have 0. So.
Well, we should come up with a fun little. I like that you're like, what should we call our listeners? And I'm like, the hams, and you're like the cute historians and explorians. I like yours better. Okay.
Yeah, so tell me spookies.
Okay, so I also use BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Okay.
And the Sunday Post.
Okay.
So this is the mystery of the missing keepers at the Flannan Isles Lighthouse. In 1896.
Oh, it's old too. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh. All right. 2 words in. In 1896, the Board of Trade authorized construction of a lighthouse on Aileen Moor, one of the Flannan Isles' 7 islets, which was also known as the Seven Hunters. Ooh. And it was off of the coast of northwest Scotland.
Ooh.
I know, my favorite place.
I would love to go to Scotland. Gosh, that'd be beautiful. That or like Ireland, I really want to go to too.
Yeah. We really wanted to go to Scotland for our wedding, but then we decided on Nova Scotia instead, which is technically New Scotland. And it was honestly just as pretty. We got married at a lighthouse. So
was it this lighthouse?
No. It was the Louisburg Lighthouse.
True. Yeah, your wedding pictures are gorgeous.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You don't have very many of yours, so online.
So Cody made a point of that today. He's like, how many pictures did we have her take? And we've used like 3 of them. I'm like,
yeah, I was gonna say there's only like 3 of them on there.
Yeah.
All right. In December of 1899, the construction was finally completed and the lighthouse was lit for the very first time. There were 4 lighthouse keepers assigned to the lighthouse at the time, and they would work staggered rotations of 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So there would be 3 on at one time.
Oh, wow.
Around midnight on December 15th, 1900, a transatlantic steamer named the Arctur first noticed that something was wrong when the lighthouse wasn't lit, even though the conditions were clear enough that they should have seen a light. When the ship arrived in port days later, the captain reported this incident, but it was never reported to the Northern Lighthouse Board. So Nothing was done about it. No one went to go check on these men. Like nothing happened. On December 26th, a ship named Hesperus set out for Aileen Moor. As part of a normal rotation, Captain James Harvey was tasked with transporting a relieving lighthouse keeper. Bad weather caused the journey to be delayed for a few days, and when Harvey and his crew arrived, it was evident that something was wrong.
Oh.
Yeah. The landing pier had been left unprepared, the flagstaff was bare, and none of the keepers had come to greet the Hesperus. So, the Hesperus sounded the horn to try and get the attention of the lighthouse keepers. No response. They then lit a flare. The keepers, it turned out, were nowhere to be found on the island. So all 3 of them had vanished.
Oh my gosh. And then like the one guy that was off is like, what?
Yeah. So the 3 men that were at the lighthouse, or I guess supposed to be at the lighthouse, were James Ducat. He was the principal keeper. He was married with 4 children, and he also had 20 years of seafaring experience.
Oh, wow.
There was Donald MacArthur. He was the occasional keeper. He was also married, and he was covering for the first assistant keeper who was on sick leave.
Okay.
And then you had Thomas Marshall, who was the youngest of the trio. I believe he was about 28, they said.
Your age.
Yeah. And he was the second assistant keeper. So Aileen Moor, which is this island, had its own quirks. The only permanent residents on the island were sheep.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, and herders referred to it as the other country, thinking it to be a haunted location.
Ooh.
Flannan Isles was said to have a mysterious effect on these sheep, and those that grazed there would give birth to twins. And if they were ill, they would recover from that sickness by eating the grass.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, despite this, the shepherds refused to stay overnight on the island for fear of a spirit that inhabited the island. So, they would basically just sail their sheep to the island to graze and then pick them up later. Good luck, guys.
Oh, poor little sheeps.
Get prego, get better.
Bye.
I'll see you later.
Poor sheep.
The main appeal to this distant area was a chapel established in the 7th century by Saint Flannan.
7th century.
7th century. How wild is that?
That's insane.
Yeah, my brain can't even compute.
No.
It's insane. Like, holy shit. So, this chapel had long inspired a terrifying reverence in its visitors. So basically, those who had never prayed before were moved to worship. Those passing through adopted superstitions and rituals, such as circling the church's ruins on their knees, and many thought Aileen Moor to have an undefinable aura that could not be ignored.
The knees part is what gets me. That sounds so painful.
Yeah. Evie's crawling like a mad woman now.
Aw.
Her knees are so bruised.
You can get little like baby knee pads.
I know. We just saw those on Amazon. I know. I'm considering it.
That's so cute.
Yeah. I saw her knees the other day and I'm like, holy crap, they're so bruised.
Oh, poor little thing.
But she's fine. It doesn't seem to bother her. So.
Yeah.
At the lighthouse, the Hesperus crew discovered a series of puzzling clues. The replacement keeper, Joseph Moore, who had come with the Hesperus, was the first to investigate. And as he scaled the cliff toward the freshly erected lighthouse, he felt an overwhelming sensation of dread. So all the doors were firmly shut. They were locked. Like the front gate, the front door, like everything was just firm.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
No. The kitchen table was piled high with meat, potatoes, and pickles. The clock had come to a halt, and a nearby chair was overturned.
The clock had come to a halt?
Yes.
Ew. Oh.
The lamp was ready to light, and 2 of 3 oilskin coats had vanished. And they eventually determined that the one coat that was remaining was Donald MacArthur's. So he didn't have a coat on.
Okay.
And finally, like I said, both the gate and the door were securely shut. So it was just like, it's literally like they just up and vanished.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah. More questions arose as a result of these hints. Why would one of the keepers go out with his coat? Or, for that matter, why would all 3 leave together despite the rules prohibiting it?
Yeah. Like why? Like all 3.
Yeah, all 3.
Yeah.
And there was a rule that said that at least like one person had to stay behind at all times to keep the light lit.
Right.
So,
because if they didn't have to, they wouldn't have to be at the lighthouse.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm forgetting how to swallow.
It's an interesting thing to forget there, Jess.
Oh my God. My throat got so dry. Okay. For some reason, my throat is very dry.
Oh.
Something unusual must have drawn them out because the position required to be manned at all times. Moore stated, quote, I'm sorry to whoever this offends, but I'm attempting.
Oh God, you're gonna attempt your Scottish accent?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Okay. This is gonna be awful. I then entered the rooms in succession.
Oh
no. Found the beds empty just as they left them in the early morning.
Oh no. No. It was equal parts bad and equal parts amazing.
I loved it. Harvey then had the island searched when Moore returned with his report. The search yielded no results. Moore and 3 others were left on the island to man the lighthouse, while the captain of the Hesperus sailed back to telegraph the Northern Lighthouse Board about the missing lighthouse men. The captain then sent a telegram to the mainland. A dreadful accident has happened at Flannan's. The 3 keepers, Ducat, Marshall, and the Occasional, have disappeared from the island. On our arrival there this afternoon, no sign of life was to be seen on the island. Fired a rocket, but as no response was made, managed to land Moore, who went up to the station but found no keepers there. The clocks were stopped, and other signs indicated that the accident must have happened about a week ago.
The clocks were stopped?
Yes, I already told you this.
I thought we were re-recording that part, Jessica.
No, this is the telegram.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
This is the guy explaining shit.
Oh, okay. Ignore me.
For those of you that don't know, I just have to go tend to my child. So
I thought we were re-recording that line. So I wanted to re-record my reaction again.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. I still find it creepy that the clocks were stopped.
It is super creepy. Yeah. So this should have happened about a week ago. Poor fellows, they must have been blown over the cliffs or drowned trying to secure a crane or something like that. Night coming on, we could not wait to make something as to their fate. I have left Moore, MacDonald, Boymaster, and 2 seamen on the island to keep the light burning until you make other arrangements. Will not return to Oban until I hear from you. I have repeated this wire to Muirhead in case you are not at home. I will return at the telegraph office tonight until it closes if you wish to wire me. So that was sent from the captain of the Hesperus to whomever he wanted to send it to. I'm assuming to the lighthouse board.
Yeah, I would think.
So they continued to investigate, but this still led them nowhere new. However, the lighthouse logbook yielded some strange details. On December 12th, there was an entry from Marshall where he described, quote, severe winds, the likes of which I have never seen before in 20 years.
Oh.
Marshall indicated some strange behaviors from his 2 lighthouse mates. That Ducat had been very quiet and MacArthur was crying. And for someone with a reputation for being a tough and experienced seafarer, this was very odd for MacArthur to be crying.
Yeah.
Marshall reported further storm specifics the next day, as well as the fact that all 3 of them had been praying. Another unexpected behavior from seasoned keepers in a brand new and apparently safe lighthouse. Strangest of all, no storms were reported in the area on December 12th, 13th, or 14th. Everything should have been peaceful until December 17th, though there is a speculation that the men could have hallucinated the storms.
Okay.
On December 15th, the last report read, quote, storm ended, sea calm, God is over all, unquote. Speculation erupted like wildfire.
I bet.
Was it a supernatural occurrence? What about sea creatures? Is this a case of insanity and murder? Is this a government-run operation? Spies from another country? Or dun 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 dun. Can you guess what the next one is?
Ghosts.
Aliens.
Aliens.
In the end, evidence found outside the lighthouse proved to be the most promising lead in determining what had happened to the 3 keepers. Damage from recent storms went as high as 200 feet above sea level on the western landing platform. Ropes that would normally be attached to a crate on a supply crane were strewn about everywhere. This damage appears to not have been related to the disappearances. However, as this was... Oh God, why did I put that kind of enunciation? This damage appears to not have been related to the disappearances, as this was mentioned in the logbook. So, like, this damage was already mentioned in the logbook, so it doesn't seem to have been related to what happened. There was also a life buoy that was attached to a rock 110 feet above sea level that was also missing, and it appears as though it wasn't taken off by man. So you could speculate it was a giant wave or something else. You be the judge. Although in 1950, it is recorded that there was a 300-foot wave that struck Eileen Moore.
Okay.
Eileen Moore? I don't even know. So it was a possibility that a wave that high could have gone that high above sea level.
Okay.
So the damage had been done to the western side, but there was no damage to the eastern side, which is weird. The superintendent of the commissioners of Northern Lights, Robert Muirhead, wrote in his official report, quote, I am of the opinion that the most likely explanation of the disappearance of the men is that they had all gone down on the afternoon of Saturday, 15 December, to the proximity of the West Landing to secure the box with the mooring ropes, and that an unexpectedly large roller, so wave, had come up on the island, and a large body of water going up higher than they were and coming down upon them had swept them away with resistless force.
That sounds pretty logical.
Yeah. And this next part I'm about to read was straight out of the British newspaper archives. I'm going to try reading it to the best of my ability.
Are you going to use an accent again?
God, no. There's too much of it.
Okay.
There's too much. So the title is Strange Affair at a Lighthouse. 3 keepers disappear. Information has been received at the Northern Lighthouse Board, Edinburgh, of the loss of the lighthouse staff at the Flannan Islands Lighthouse. The station was established in December last year and was staffed by 4 men, 3 taking duty and the other having relief. When the board's steamer yesterday went to the island to land the relieving keeper, it was found that the 3 men last on duty had disappeared, leaving no trace behind. They are the principal keeper, James Ducat, and Thomas Marshall and Donald MacArthur. The latter was an occasional keeper on duty in place of a sick member of the regular staff. It is surmised that they were swept away during the storm of last week, either when attempting to save a crane or when trying to render assistance to some vessel in distress. The relieving keeper and 3 other men have been temporarily left on the island. No such incident has ever happened in the history of the Lighthouse Board, and it is provident that it did not result in disaster to any passing vessel. The Flannan Islands are a group of 7 isles, 17 miles west of Lewis in the Hebrides. So that was that news article, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So while this, or close approximation, appears to be plausible, the explanation leaves a lot of space for uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of bodies, the seemingly quiet weather, and the lighthouse keeper's sheer expertise and know-how had yet to be accounted for, and never would be.
Well, and why did all the clocks stop? That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, I honestly don't know, and there's literally no explanation for it.
Unless it was like a clock that you had to like crank or something, and because there wasn't anybody there, they all stopped eventually. But
maybe.
Either way.
I mean, it was the 1900s.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility for sure. Huh. Yeah, it's a good possibility. So other keepers reported to hear voices yelling out the names of Thomas Marshall, James Ducat, and Donald MacArthur in the years afterward.
Ew.
Yes. And in mysterious Celtic mythology and American folklore, author Bob Curran writes, quote, "For many local people, there was little doubt that they had been spirited into the other world," unquote.
Ooh.
So that is my story, but I am not done. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6 theories. There are 6 theories here that have been speculated over the years.
Okay.
Do you have a theory of your own based off of what was just discussed?
I think that it's what that guy said, that like they probably went down there to either like, I don't think it was to help a vessel because I think they would have found that vessel, but maybe to like get whatever that other thing he said was, like
the crane,
get the rope or something like that. Yeah. And the wave came down and swept them out to sea.
Okay. So I like that theory. That is a good theory. So it's one of them. So
it's kind of boring, but that's my theory.
So the first theory is based on William MacArthur's personality and character.
Ooh.
According to all accounts, MacArthur was a hot-tempered man who was quick to resolve a disagreement with his fists.
Uh-oh.
It's been speculated that he started a fight on the Western Landing, which resulted in all 3 men being killed by falling off the cliffs.
Or what if he started a fight and accidentally killed them and then felt so guilty about it, he killed himself?
That is the next one.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Well, it's one of them. So the second theory holds that one of the men, most likely MacArthur, murdered the other 2 men dumped their bodies in the sea, and then jumped off the cliffs. While both possibilities contribute to the mystery's bloodlust, there is no evidence that either a fight or a murder took place. Of course, males in close quarters can push each other the wrong way to the point where they snap and all hell breaks loose, especially if one of them has a history of violence like MacArthur. But without bodies or crime scenes to examine, these two possibilities will always remain speculative.
Yeah, and you think if there was like a big fight or a murder, there'd be some kind of evidence, like blood or something, because I don't think he would murder someone or like get in a fight and kill them and then like clean up the scene and then kill himself. Like that doesn't make sense.
Well, my assumption is that like if a big wave came and kind of took the bodies away, it could have washed blood away,
True.
right? Or like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
If there
True,
was a
true,
scuffle, like it just could have washed anything away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I was thinking more of like a fight inside the lighthouse.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, everything was in place, right? Like there was even food on the table. Like,
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel
yeah.
like there would be more evidence of a fight.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Theory number 3, Marshall and Ducat were carried away while attempting to grab supplies and equipment on the West Landing, which is a much more probable story. So when his colleagues didn't return, MacArthur set out to find them, but he was killed in the storm as well. The fact that Marshall had previously been penalized 5 shillings for losing his equipment in a prior gale explains why anyone would embark on such a perilous journey when they could have kept safe in the lighthouse. So losing 5 shillings was no laughing matter for a family man in 1900. Therefore, it's understandable if protecting equipment was more important to Marshall than his own personal safety.
Yeah, and I mean, you never really think that you're gonna die. Like, yeah, I can do this, you know.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So
I could see that. Yeah.
yes.
That makes sense too.
This next one is a weird combo theory.
Okay.
It's speculated based off of the logs that with the morale being low, that someone had a mental breakdown, MacArthur,
Mm-hmm.
and he beat the men and killed them, then jumped in the water himself. Wow, I don't know if I keep forgetting how to swallow. Or there is a speculation that a romantic relationship could have occurred between the men and then something soured. Or that someone went mad, went running towards the edge of the cliff, and one of the others slipped into the water chasing after him to stop him. But again, there's no indication of violence, so who knows? But
yeah, I don't really like that one.
No, me neither. But I can honestly believe the whole somebody going mad thing.
Yeah, I can too. Although 6 weeks seems a little quick to do that, but
well, I mean, you're with the 3 same people on an island, and if it's storming.
But that's the other thing I was gonna say with the other theories. Didn't they say that the weather there wasn't report of a storm?
So there's also thought that they were doing drugs. Yes. So there was a thought that they were doing drugs and hallucinating, and also close quarters in the lighthouse, right? So
gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I
yeah.
can see that one too.
Theory number 5 is my favorite. They were abducted by aliens.
Say aliens.
So that is a theory. And that's literally all there is to that theory, is that they were abducted by aliens.
Got some good old butt probes and never came back.
Oh my gosh. They found love in the aliens. Holy shit.
What was that? I heard that.
Thunder.
I heard that. Holy crap.
I was about to get abducted by aliens.
They're like, you're talking about us. That's my alien abduction noise.
I am dying. That just scared the shit out of me. Holy crap, that was the loudest thunder I have ever fucking
That was
heard.
super loud. Yeah.
Holy crap. That's weird. Okay. I can't believe you heard that. Holy crap.
I did.
Just, like,
Yeah. It kind of like it was like blowing into your mic.
okay, so before my power goes out, theory number 6. Some supernatural occurrence occurred. So there's the blue men of the Minch or storm kelpies in the outer Hebrides where the Flannan Isles are located. These strong green-haired creatures are thought to live in caves and sink ships to drown sailors. If these lighthouse keepers were to come across these creatures, their only hope for survival would be to have the last I forgot about this.
To what?
Would be to have the last word in a rhyming duel.
Yes. Rhyming duel. I would lose in that 100%.
Oh my gosh. In Assassin's Creed, the new one, fuck, what's it called?
Yeah, you have rhyming duels, don't you?
Yes.
Cody was playing it and I was like,
weird.
that is so stupid. Why are they doing that? Yeah.
It's so funny. Okay. So it's also said that when Moore arrived to the lighthouse, that there were 3 black birds perched atop of it. And when he entered the building, they flew away. So it's said that the 3 lighthouse keepers were transformed into birds as punishment for violating the supernatural power of the island.
Oh.
Of course, the true cause behind James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and William MacArthur's disappearances will almost certainly never be revealed. The Flannan Isles mystery remains one of the most perplexing occurrences in Scottish maritime history, regardless of how 3 men met their destiny on the chilly December night in 1900.
Ooh, that was such a good one. I loved it.
Thanks.
What's I like all the theories too.
Yeah, me too.
Looking up a dad joke.
Okay.
My wife said I should do lunges to stay in shape. That would be a big step forward.
So stupid. I love it.
What do you call a fish wearing a bow tie?
Oh, fancy.
Sophisticated. That's my favorite one.
I love it so much.
Sophisticated. Oh, well, if you want more of us lovely ladies, you can find us at our website at historiesandmysteries.ca. We're also on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram.
And if you would like to rate and review us, that would be so nice. Thank you.
We would love it so much.
We would love it so much. And I also just wanted to call out Rochelle's mom, Cheryl. She commented something very, very sweet on one of our posts, and it made me smile. So,
oh yeah, she's very sweet.
So sweet.
Yeah, and we also had a new listener.
Yeah.
Give us a story suggestion, which we'll be doing within the next few episodes here. But we are super thankful for her. Her name's Laura. I'm not going to yell at her for a full name in case she doesn't want that. But yeah, so really awesome, Laura. Welcome aboard. Thanks for joining. We hope you enjoy our stupid sense of humor.
Yeah, we enjoy it.
Yeah. And thanks to all of you guys for listening week after week. We love you and we appreciate you. And we look forward to bringing you 2 new stories next week.
Bye.
Bye.